G'day, Big Al Story here. I just recorded a whole story and it disappeared. Or it didn't disappear, I just didn't have my microphone on. Hopefully it's on now.
Team Violin! This is my sister! She thinks you're a douchebag!
He laughs like a madman and swigs more beer. The music waits momentarily as I look at her. Our eye contact is timeless. I do a lot of men's work, and so a lot of the stuff that I write, a lot of the stories I write have men's work themes in them. This story called Team Violin has a lot of men's themes in it, and the main one is reconnecting with your passions. So yeah, hopefully you like this story, and let's get started. Team Violin by Big Al Story. I sit behind the drum kit in an empty room, my palms sweaty, my knees jumble. The soundproofing is useless because I haven't made a single sound in 10 minutes. Well, a few nervous taps and bangs, but nothing like music. I've been studying here at the Conservatorium of Music for 8 years, but I've never actually been in this claustrophobic drum rehearsal room. The last time I made a noise on a drum kit was over a decade ago, at school. We'd play at lunchtime, and whoever was closest to the kit and could sort of keep a rhythm was the drummer. If I ever had a choice, I'd usually choose guitar. If I had no choice, I'd get pushed to the drum kit. Every song, no matter what style of rock, would start with the same notes. Crash! Tss, 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 tss. The crash cuts the air and announces that the first 4 important notes are coming. Tss, 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 tss. They may sound like 5 simple notes, but everyone in the band hears them as and 1, 2, 3, 4. If you were a dancer, you'd probably hear them as and 5, 6, 7, 8. If you were a runner, you'd probably just hear them as on your marks, get set. Our conductor does it more eloquently, silently. Instead of a crash, he taps the music stand, tap, tap, tap. We get ready and we know that the next 4 notes are silently played with the fluent pumps of his arms. When we all hit that first note together, it seems like the music never really stopped. It's like someone just pressed play on a song that was playing in the background all along. It's beautiful. I smash the crash cymbal. Its cutting sound is immediately swallowed by the dim light of the dingy room. I can't really remember much about what we'd play after those first 4 notes, but that's how every song started. Tss, 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 tss. I'm sure that some days that's all we'd actually practice, was the intro of crash, tss, 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 and then a few bars of something. There's something satisfying about everyone coming in convincingly on that same beat after the 4. I can't really remember our songs, but something I do remember apart from the tss, 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 was the violin. When it came to actual instrumental lessons and not just mucking around making noise, I did have a choice, and I chose violin. I completed my lessons and practiced by myself in the music room. With violin, each note is individual, elastic in timing, conscious, emotional. My true passion was, and is, violin. I give the crash cymbal another half-aggressive smash as I say his name in my head. John. That persistent pain in my arse, John Grange, is the reason I'm sitting here. John has a brother, and predictably, his brother has a band. And if there's a word more predictable than predictable, I'd use it. But what is for certain is that they need a drummer for a gig tonight, and that drummer is me. I look at my watch. It is at this exact time that I should be having a coffee with the conductor. He knows better than anyone that I have goals. He knows what they are. I've studied violin for over 2 decades now. I have a safe position in the orchestra, but my dream is to be a solo violinist. John has a position in the performance orchestra too, but he's just a silly bugger. He has no aspirations to play anything apart from what he currently plays. John plays the fool. His true talent really lies in rehearsal time and comedy. There are rare slithers of time in rehearsals when you can say something quite audibly and sometimes humorously and it doesn't offend the conductor. If John's timing is right, which it usually is, he can even make the conductor giggle like a teenager. These slithers are generally in the beat of a moment, just after the music stops. There are probably 8 to 10 of these moments in a 2-hour rehearsal. John rarely misses a beat. Woodwind's lagging. Woodwind. His jokes don't sound good when you retell them. You definitely have to be there for the performance to see how good they are. Last week he referred to the brass section as the Kardashians. He kept the quip going the whole rehearsal. By the 10th slither, he asked them,
"Can ye hear yourselves? All sound, no rhythm."
He's not always loud either. In that predictable moment where the orchestra look to him, expecting a comical bombshell, he says what the moment needs by pretending to answer his phone and quietly telling his mum that he can't pick up milk on the way home. When the laughter subsides and we all accept it for what it is, just a bit of comic relief, he delivers the punchline. "Yeah, I'm just not going to have time, Mummy. The brass section are losing time by the minute. Could you pick it up?" "Yeah, thanks, Mummy. Bye." If you're in the room to witness his bombshells and one-liners, it's obvious that they're individual masterpieces. I often wonder if he would be as funny if he wasn't actually playing in the orchestra. He's definitely funny, but when he's not, he's ruthlessly and uncannily accurate. If the entire rehearsal season was a composition, John's underlying theme is always to represent our team, Team Violin. He makes fun of anyone in the orchestra that doesn't play the violin. He sometimes has sympathy for the violas, but even they are not immune to his wicked and crude timing. Anyways, I think you know the type of guy he is. He's got me into this predicament where I'm playing in a band tonight. I haven't rehearsed with them. I'll be playing an instrument that's not my strength, and somehow I'm sitting here reminiscing about how funny and witty he is. I'm not sure how he does it, but it's very fucking annoying. Team Violin is usually the biggest section of an orchestra, and ours is no exception. We hold a presence within the orchestra, and with John as our captain, we seem to hold a bit more presence. He probably adds 5 to 6 individuals to our collective power. It's a blessing and a curse. Being a part of the biggest team is pretty alluring, but it doesn't fare well for obtaining solo positions. John couldn't give a shit about solo positions. He'd probably like me to get a solo position, just so he could lay some shit on me while everyone's watching and listening. This feels slightly better. I'm sitting here in a quiet room cursing John. He's so fucking annoying. The beers are cold and free, but they're not calming my nerves. The crowd is almost drunk and getting louder. John is having the time of his life. As I watch another of his full-bodied laughs, I have an urge. I want to smash this drumstick up his fucking nose. I've seen a list of predictable song names scribbled on a beer coaster, but I have no idea what we're actually playing. John's brother hums some themes and rhythms directly into my ear, accompanied by some erratic air drums. I think he actually thinks that I'm taking on board and memorising at least some of what he's saying. John is completely aware of how nervous I am and takes it upon himself to liaise between myself and his brother. In his drunken state, he seems to think he is the only one that can talk loud enough to be heard over the music in this ridiculously loud pub. He screams more whispers into my delicate ears.
"There are no colours, just go with the flow, bro!"
He converses with his brother again, who seems to be taking it only a bit more seriously than John. John conveys back to me something that I predict is far more simple than what was actually said.
"Yeah, bro, the German sort of rock pop songs, they've got like quiet verses, loud choruses, just 2 parts, just go with the flow, bro, go with the flow. You've got this."
He takes another swig of his free beer. I want to push his drunken ass through the drum kit and walk out, but the drum kit isn't ours. It belongs to the previous band. We will be setting up our kit. We have to set it up now. Nobody is really looking at us. We're all set up and ready to go. There's laughing, some screaming. I entertain the thought maybe if we play quiet, no one will really know we're playing. John holds his beer in the air and yells,
"Yeah, the Free Wilsons!"
I had no idea that that was the name of the band. They look at me again. I shrug my shoulders.
"Free Wilsons, yeah, boy!"
Front and centre, he wobbles, spilling beer on anyone brave enough to be near him. I fucking hate that bastard. Our singer yells at me off the mic. He says the name of the first song. I have no idea what he just said, but I remember that they said the first song is Upbeat. Our brave leader announces to a sea of people,
"We are the Free Wilsons!"
Girlfriends of the band yell their woos as the crowd hushes silently. I think he actually brought the energy of the crowd down. This is going to be a disaster. Eyes are cast at the band. The band casts its eyes on me. My fingers go numb. My knees go cold. I smash the cymbal with the only thing I rehearsed today. Crash! The single note rings out through the pub. It's a moment. John feels it.
Yeah!
The boys slowly look out to the crowd. My first steps into the unknown musical journey begin with 4 confident-sounding notes. Tss, 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 tss. And before I know it, I'm back in high school playing a 4/4 beat. It's like our song had never stopped. Somehow the band had rehearsed something to play, and it sounds like music. The feel changes. It's a chorus. I play louder and add a fill, I think. I hear John's voice in my head. Quiet verses and loud choruses. I'm ready for the verse, and it slips in perfectly. We chug along and the feel changes again, but it's not the music, it's the pub. They talk louder, they move, they trust us to take them through. Chorus, verse, chorus, some weird stuff, and then crash! My cymbal rings out to finish the song. The crowd is talkative and claps a normal pub cheer. In the slither of a moment, John arrives instantly in front of the drum kit. He's got a drunken bend in his stance and an unpredictably beautiful woman on his side. He screams over the crowd noise.
This is my sister! She thinks you're a douchebag!
He laughs like a madman and swigs more beer. The music waits momentarily as I look at her. Our eye contact is timeless. It never stopped. As we pretended to stop gazing, John witnesses another slither of time.
Team violin!
He fades back into the crowd and I start the only solo I know. Crash! Tss, 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 tss. Hope you like that. Hope you like the character John. I know some people like John, but they're good people. So yeah, if you want to see some more of my men's work stuff, jump on to Alan Saunderson on Facebook. Got a bit of stuff there. If you want to hear more of my stories, Big Al Story on Facebook, Big Al Story on YouTube. That's where I'm putting my stuff, and I'm going to put up some Audible songs too, so stories. Thanks for listening.